Thanks for
Hello.
coming back.
Yeah.
I guess let's just do a little bit of a recap. You were on before. We were mostly talking about crypto, and you're heading to Singapore. Now you've went to
Yeah.
Singapore. What were you doing there? Share that experience with us.
Okay. So, the last time I was here, I was 15. That was a year ago, right?
About a year, yeah.
Yeah. And a couple months after that, five months after, I went to Singapore to do a internship at a brokerage named JB Drex. Yeah, they have multiple office, but I went to the Singapore office. And yeah, I was kind of the junior broker there. I didn't actually touch the systems or anything. I did everything else except put the orders in or close the orders because I need a brokerage license for that. So people would message us on the Bloomberg terminal. You know what
Yep.
Bloomberg is? Yeah. And then I put in the ticket. My coworker would put in the system. We'd stamp it, everything, and then once it gets filled, stamp it again, write it down, and then we'd put it on the table behind us, where the orders would be filled. And there's also another table for pending orders or
But
goods in
this
transit.
sounds like it's a little bit of manual work.
Yeah.
Like old school. This is how
Yeah.
are they doing this for large orders, or how does
We're
like
doing
institutional orders?
Yeah, I yeah, they have banks trading with them, mainly trading the treasury bonds. Some might trade the indices like SP 500 or Nasdaq 100,
Mhm.
but mainly just the treasury bonds like the US 10-year, US 30-year, and sometimes 2 years, 2 years,
And
5 years.
we're watching the markets now. It's not the bonds are the yield. They're these treasuries. They're taking a hit right now.
Yeah.
We won't go too much into that because I guess people watching this podcast, they want to understand who are these people on it, what's it all about, and what's your story a little bit. Let's jump back now. Before was it more an internship?
Yeah.
How
yeah,
did
more
how
of
did
an
that
internship.
how did that even come about? I mean, you're 15 years old going for your summer for an internship
Yeah.
in Singapore in a brokerage firm. How did this all connect together? How did you even find this?
So at that time, I wanted to be a trader, but I wasn't doing anything to pursue it. So when my dad wanted me to find an internship, and one time he was having lunch with his mates, and then he's like, "Oh, do you know anyone who would take Tiger to do an internship?" And by chance, he's like, he wanted me to go to his brokerage. He's the managing partner at JB Drax.
Hmm.
So he invited me along for 2 weeks. And yeah, at that point, I just learned a lot more than I knew before, like a lot more.
Well, we had PJ on last week, and he did some time in Singapore, and I don't know if we're not calling it jail time, but he said it was definitely a different experience. Can you talk about your experience and the difference between living and growing up in Phuket and now, I mean, basically living on your own, not essentially on your own, but having that more grown up experience in Singapore, working in a brokerage firm, and who are you living with? What was that experience like? And just talk about the differences.
My dad's friend was out of Singapore, and so we stayed at his place. But we both think he just had us stay there, so we'd water his plants. So yeah, so he was kind enough to let us stay there, and I took the bus to work every day. It was only like 2 Singaporean dollars, which is like 50 baht. So there and back $2.
Well, and who knows, Singapore, it's probably
Yeah.
Rolls Royce buses. Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest. If you enjoyed this content, we're doing 5 clips like this a week. If you want to watch the full podcast, click here.